it's just an awesome opportunity to not just have to stick in one side of campus or one side of your friends. There's so many different areas throughout A&M where you can find community. And I think for SGA, there's so many areas where you can find friends, but also awesome leaders to look up to. And so, yeah, it's awesome.
This is On Air with Student Affairs. I'm your host, Elizabeth Drake, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about Student Government Association at Texas A&M. So here with us, we have some students who are involved in student government here at A&M. So let's just start off by getting to know a little bit about y'all, what your major is, where you're from, and then also what made you come to Texas A&M.
My name's Natalie Troyer. I'm a sophomore double major in agricultural economics and political science. Originally, I'm from Houston, Texas, and I'm a third-generation Aggie, so I came home from the hospital in an Aggie onesie, and I was kind of set since then.
Awesome. My name is Carys Gunn. I am a communications major from Bullard, Texas, and I'm double minoring in nonprofit studies and technical sales. And I'm a second generation Aggie, and I just grew up around A&M, and I love A&M, and that's why I'm here.
Awesome.
My name is Mazie Johnson, and I'm currently a graduate student pursuing my master's in entrepreneurial leadership. I'm from Rockwall, Texas, and just like y'all, my parents are Aggies, and so my mom didn't know a whole bunch of lullabies. I'm the first child, and so she sang the war hymn to me growing up, and so definitely this seemed like the right option, the only option, and thank God that I'm here.
Awesome. Well, now that we know a little bit more about you guys, what first drew you to SGA?
Coming in my freshman year, I wasn't sure exactly where I would get involved on campus. And the first thing that really stuck out to me was the student government flow, the freshman leadership org fish aids. So getting involved in that was kind of my first taste into SGA, and I loved it. Through that, I got to serve as the Senate fish aid and then stayed in Senate for 2 years at this point, going into a third. So just getting involved quick got me. I love it.
Yeah.
Same thing as Natalie. I joined Fish Aids my freshman year and just got a little hint of what SGA really was. And I came in with not that much knowledge about student government. Had it in high school, but went to a really small high school, not super established. And so just coming in and seeing A&M, which is such an awesome school, and how established we are, was just really cool. And I got to serve on Cause Good my freshman year, and now again my sophomore year.
Awesome.
Yeah, I kind of fell into SGA, didn't really know what it was coming in. I did student council in high school, and so I was interested in it, but kind of like you said, I thought, oh, it's such a big university. There's no way that I can be involved in student government. And so I saw an email come through the bulk mail over the summer. So pro tip, read the bulk mail. And so I joined a university committee, which come to find out is a part of SGA. And then I ended up joining the 12th CAN, which is also a part of SGA. And then I joined the academic affairs committee within the executive branch. And so kind of came at it from several different angles and got to see different sides of it. But I didn't always know what it was. And it all kind of started with that first initial email. So
that's awesome. So I know you touched on it a little bit, but did you guys anticipate joining something like SGA before you came to college?
Not really. I was kind of intimidated by it. I think it's just, it's something that it's just so special at A&M, and that's what I've come to learn. But also just looking at A&M from afar, I'm like, wow, I mean, those are some studs that are within SGA. But now getting to be a part of something so much bigger than myself, it's been really cool to see that. And also just I guess it's just imposter syndrome almost that you just have to work through, and knowing that everyone's on the same track and we're all wanting to learn together. But yeah, never once did I think that I would be a part of something this cool. So
yeah, I agree. In high school, I was really involved in FFA. So when I came to A&M in the College of Ag, it was really tight knit, and I was like, this is going to be my involvement. I'm going to be in the College of Ag, and that's it. And then joining Fish Aids just kind of opened a whole new door of there are so many things to do on campus outside of just sticking with your college. So getting involved in Fish Aids was really the eye opener, but I could have never seen myself in any of the positions that I'm in now.
Yeah. So now looking back on your time and your experience, how do you think being involved with it has affected your Aggie experience?
I feel like being a part of it has just made me have eyes to see just the people around me that maybe aren't finding their place or just don't really know how to have a voice. And so it's been really cool to see those people and hear from them and just get to be a part of something that gets to work for those people and just creating a space where different student leaders from all over A&M, that we have Greek life, women's orgs, men's orgs, just throughout their college, like leadership opportunities. And we all just get to come together as one and just get to share why we love A&M and what we can do better and improving that. And so it's been a really cool way just to see how that has all panned out.
Yeah, definitely pulling people from all parts of campus just to share their love for A&M.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I would say that being involved in student government is like the most formative thing I've done in college, and it's definitely what I'll remember most. It has just formed my Aggie experience in a way that I never would have thought. I never saw myself getting this involved, and getting to meet so many people from so many corners of campus, like Carys was saying, that I genuinely would have never met before. Both of my majors are on West Campus. Like, why would I ever meet an engineering student? But some of them are my best friends because I get to know them through Student Senate and through COSGA and just through different involvements that you just never would think of.
Yeah.
I would absolutely agree. I also am stuck on West Campus in the business school. And so getting to meet people from across campus has just really taught me how to love others. And getting to, I think back on my time, now I spent 4 years in SGA, which time flies. I cannot believe it's already been 4 years. But thinking about all of my favorite memories at A&M, SGA has been a part of it and the community that I've built personally within SGA. But then also getting to touch so many students' lives and learning how to love others from different perspectives, different backgrounds, different opinions. And I've just loved getting to know people. And as you said, I mean, just truly formative experience and growing personally and then as an Aggie family.
Absolutely. I can definitely relate to being a West Campus girly and wanting to find other groups of people to all over campus to kind of share our love for A&M with. So for any of our viewers that might be watching that don't know anything about SGA, could you guys tell us a little bit more about what you guys do?
Absolutely. So Student Government Association, our mission is to serve students and represent students and improve the Aggie experience for everyone. And so we do that in so many different ways. That's why our mission's kind of broad because, I mean, we have so many different ways to serve and love students. And so the Student Government Association is kind of modeled after our government, our federal government. So we've got 3 branches. And the first branch is our executive branch, which is where our student body president and vice president are. And that's maybe where most of our students might see kind of a lot of the headlines is during our student body president elections. And so, but they have an executive cabinet. That's where my position is this year. I serve as chief of operations. And so, and then we also have 13 executive committees within that branch. And so for many of our students that aren't as familiar with SGA, that's also maybe where they might have even interacted with SGA in many ways. Through if you volunteered at Big Event, that's within SGA, or if you've gotten a ride home with Carpool, that's also SGA. And so that's one really key way that we were able to interact with students and serve students directly. But we also have 2 other branches of government, including Student Senate. So I don't know if you want to talk about a little bit about Student Senate as well.
Yeah, so Student Senate is kind of where I found my home in SGA. I love it there. So Student Senate is composed of 80 senators from around campus. So each college has student representatives as well as based off of where you live. So if you live on or off campus, you have representatives. And then these are all of these positions are elected during the student body president election. So that's where the headlines are, but that's also where we're electing our senators that serve in a different way, in a different branch. And then in the fall, we have elections for our 2 freshman senators so that the incoming class of 2030 will get their representatives, which is so crazy to think about. But Student Senate is the voice of the student body. That's our mission statement, is to serve and recognize student accomplishments across campus. So this includes things, we write resolutions for most major events that happen on campus, but we're also writing bills and acts that are constantly updating the SGA code and how we represent students. We're constantly updating how we do that and how we're able to just better serve our students. And then also things like funding and budget goes through Student Senate as well. So not the university budget, but the student government budget is all allocated based off of the Student Senate.
Yeah, and then we also have our judicial court or J court, which really keeps the entire SGA in balance and helps a lot during election season, but also just in ensuring that we're fulfilling the core values of excellence and integrity with our Senate budget that Senate so diligently allocates to the rest of our SGA. And so we want to make sure that we're serving our students well. And we also have so many students within SGA that are working from across campus to try to represent our students and in those spaces that are so crucial where our student voices are heard. And we also have other committees like COSGA, which are within our executive cabinet, that are also working to represent the university externally as well.
Totally. Yeah, and just a little bit about COSGA. It is the largest student-ran, student-led student government conference in the world. That's a mouthful. But it's just been really cool to get to help plan and execute a conference that we host here at A&M, where we get to reach out to hundreds of universities across the nation, just inviting them to come to A&M and getting to share what makes our SGA so special, but also pulling in people that are really well equipped to share how to lead better and how to serve better, and just getting to, it's just like a Mod Podge of a bunch of different schools that need help or have awesome ideas that we just get to share. And so it's just been really cool to be a part of that. And also, I have just grown an appreciation for our SGA and just how established it is, like I said earlier, and just getting to see small schools that might just need a little bit of growing, and we get to help and be a resource for them for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So clearly there's so many moving parts and so many things that go into being a member of SGA. Mm-hmm. But what do you think is one thing that you guys have learned or a lesson from being a part of SGA that you maybe wouldn't have gotten from the classroom?
Involvement at Texas A&M, in the classroom, you're learning tangible skills that will help you towards your career, but outside involvement is where you learn the soft skills and where you learn how to apply what you're doing in the classroom to real life. So looking at my political science classes, yes, I'm learning how the branches interact at a federal level, at a state level, and then in student government, I'm getting to see how they interact by being a part of it. So currently serving as the pro temp for the Student Senate. So that's right directly under our speaker. So we get to be in a lot of important meetings that I really probably would never be in outside of this position. And that it's like, these are really awesome people that are making decisions that are affecting 80,000 students. And I just get to be in on it because of a title, and just getting to see that so many students love to serve is really where I'm taking the classroom aspect and applying it to student government.
Yeah, a great opportunity to dip your toes into the real world.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I've grown a lot in my time management, and also just the ability to adapt into just new settings where in class, like you said, just a lot of, concepts, and in my communications classes, I'm learning all of that stuff. But then it's actually, now it's a soft skills time. I'm reaching out to schools. I'm helping with donor relations. I'm, contacting people to get 150 Piata boxes to get catered here, So it's just a bunch of things that I think, regardless of what industry I go into, I will be able to have that relational bandwidth, and I will have those, concept of like how to plan different things. And also, it is crazy to think that we are college students getting to organize things like this or host Senate meetings. Like, this is crazy, but it's just really cool to have that experience in college. And I think that's what makes A&M's SGA just so unique and so special.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. Totally agree with what y'all have said. I mean, coming from, management undergraduate degree, learning about it in the classroom is very valuable, but actually leading a team is so different, as I'm sure y'all both know. And so kind of getting to practice what you preach in those ways of taking those tangible skills that you're learning in the classroom and applying them and actually trying and failing and trying again and learning in that way, which, the failing part can be humbling too. And that's, I think, one of the ways I always say I've never, been so humbled but grown so much in a role, and that's really where I attribute most of my growth in my time in college is in those ways. And then also kind of like Carys said, I mean, like, there's so many skills that I never would have gotten from my degree. Event planning, that is still maybe not in my super duper strengths, but really getting to try my hand at that. And like all the Piata boxes, like things that you never would have thought that you'd be doing in college, but really make a difference in helping you understand scale and scope and planning for others and considering different things like dietary restrictions and accessibility concerns. And so things that are absolutely going to be relevant in our careers. And then, when we serve in the future and volunteer, but things that I probably wouldn't have gotten directly from the classroom.
Yeah. So clearly it's given you guys a different sort of insight from being involved with it. Do you think SGA has ever made you change your mind about something, whether that was like a campus issue or just like a perspective or really anything in general?
I think for me, just through involvement with the 12th CAN, I never would have thought that affordability could be such an issue for college students.
Yeah.
And so getting to be a part of that, and that's a SGA-wide initiative that we've had for several years now, where multiple sides, every branch of SGA, multiple committees are all working on the issue of affordability in many different ways. But 12th CAN specifically happens to be working on the food insecurity side. And so I think there is this common misconception about having your students, you're paying thousands of dollars to go to this university, that you have the money to support that. And that is by no means the case. And so seeing how we can serve and, rise as a student government to meet that need within our Aggie family, and kind of, breaking some of those myths about accessibility and, reducing that stigma around it as well, so that we can, provide help for all of those in need in Aggieland has been definitely a growing experience. And I've loved telling people about it because it really is just you don't know what you don't know. And so the more that we can raise awareness for those issues, the more that other people's perspectives can change on that.
Yeah, what a great perspective to take away.
SGA continually opens my eyes to new issues that I just never would have thought about or had to have experienced. I'm really blessed I haven't experienced food insecurity, but like Mazie said, so many students on our campus are, and just I don't think I would have ever known that or realized that it was as big of an issue as it is. Also, when it comes to things like mental health on campus, student government recently did Mental Health Week and did a lot of work with University Health Services on that. So just there's so many issues across campus that are being addressed, but maybe aren't widely known about. So student government just continually opens my eyes to different issues that are being faced, and also just helps me build connections with people that are addressing those issues.
I agree. I think I also saw that a lot through Fish Aids, and just how it was just a blind side, like, let's apply for this random thing. But that truly did open my eyes to all of the things that SGA does. And I would have never known about Carpool or all these other resources that we have, like 12th CAN or any of that. And so I think, as well as Natalie, like, my eyes have just been opened.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, SGA is frequently described as the voice of students in Aggieland. Can you guys talk a little bit maybe about a time where you felt that weight and responsibility and what that meant to you?
I think for me, just kind of how student government elections kind of work is, everyone is working so hard for to campaign, raise awareness for the candidates who are running. And so I think after the candidates are elected and then they start to select their and appoint their cabinet. And so this past year, getting to be appointed to Chief of Operations has been such an honor. And I'm so blessed to serve our student body in that way. And so how it kind of works is we elect our student body president, vice president. They appoint their top staff, for instance, and then they're confirmed by Senate. And so I remember, going before Senate and explaining to them, they hold us accountable, and explain to them, this is why I believe that I can be a good fit and how I can serve a student body, and really feeling, all the senators looking at me, and they're all representing so many students at A&M. And it's really high stakes, representing that many students. And how can you ever represent every single student? And it's together. It's through, all the work that Senate's doing and representing so many different caucuses, and really feeling that weight of there are just so many students with different interests. And we know that it is tricky to really align those interests and compromise and make sure that we're meeting everyone's needs. And I think it really hit me in that moment of like, oh, it's gonna be a busy year, but it just flew by like that. Now it's almost over. So and we really see that with the legacy of SGA continuing, and then next year's team, which is already getting started. I'm sure they'll feel this very same feeling in just a few short weeks.
Yeah, how great though to have so many different perspectives and people in the mix.
Student Senate specifically, we have a lot of different committees within Student Senate, and some of these committees work directly with the city of Bryan and the city of College Station to advocate for student needs, while also just helping them realize and say thank you, similar to the big event, like just say thank you for sharing their town with us for 9 months out of the year. It gets busy, it gets crowded, but they are really willing to work with us. But obviously there are sometimes disagreements, but specifically on things like parking issues and historic. That's been something that Student Senate's been working on a lot with executive cabinet, with municipal affairs, and just getting to go into town hall meetings and advocate for 80,000 students for issues that are concerning to us has been really humbling and really like one kind of imposter syndrome. Like, how did I get here? How am I doing this? But two, it just carries such a weight with it that I've been trusted to do this, and I'm really thankful for that opportunity. So that's just been really great. And I think also representing the student voice, a lot of student government involvement isn't necessarily in the legislative and the executive branches. We do have the 13 executive committees, but those do include things like muster and traditions council as well. So not only are we representing students' needs while they're here, but also if a student passes away, we honor them with silver taps. And I think that represents the voice of students more than anything else could, because we're representing generations and generations of Aggies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love the way that Natalie worded that. I think that was the first thing that came to mind was muster and silver taps, where you get to be unified and it's the whole university is invited to be a part of this. And it's something so special and something that I've heard about growing up from my dad. But now it's like, okay, I get to be here and I get to participate in these traditions, and something that is a part of student government, but also it can be for everyone else. Like everyone else can be a part of it as well. And just unified under the fact that we are all students of Texas A&M and we are one family and one voice and one force. So
yeah. It really stands out while you guys are talking how much you interact with so many different people on campus. Do you think that through your roles you've been connected with different people or parts of campus that you wouldn't have found otherwise?
Totally, 100%. Just throughout Cosga, there's a lot. We have almost 30 staff members in our committee, and so it's just been really cool to get to know people from all different sides of campus and different involvements, and just getting to hear about the gifts that they bring to this, and how we just get to work together to form an awesome conference for other students. And I think that's just been really cool and really eye-opening, and it's just an awesome opportunity to not just have to stick in one side of campus or one side of your friends, There's so many different areas throughout A&M where you can find community. And I think for SGA, there's so many areas where you can find friends, but also awesome leaders to look up to. And so, yeah, it's awesome.
I think for me, it's been really fun to we already talked about meeting people from different sides of campus, different backgrounds, different experiences, and trying to bring people into SGA and recruit people to SGA so that we can all represent their interests as well. And so this year, we've been really excited that Aggie Nations has joined SGA as one of our executive committees, serving international students directly. And so that's been really eye-opening for us too. I think having more international students involved with SGA and able to represent their unique interests as well. And also other executive committees like Carpool, who are also serving international students as well as many other students, but international students might not have a vehicle that they bring to campus. And so Carpool is able to meet that need and fill that gap as well. And so I think just in even the social ways of, meeting new people, building a new community, and then also being able to represent their interests as well. That's been really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think, just to reiterate what they've said, getting to meet people that I genuinely would have never interacted with outside of student government has been such a gift. And it's been so cool just to see how different people from different parts of campus experience the Aggie spirit and how they view A&M and view their time at A&M. And then also just getting to meet a lot of really cool adults. Like, there are so many community leaders that want to talk to college students and want to interact with us, which has been really special. Especially with the Aggie Lyceum coming up, there's a lot of government officials that'll be here to just talk to students and get to teach us about civil discourse and how to do that well. And then, I went to a conference a few weeks ago with some of the vice chancellors for the university systems. There are so many different stakeholders in this university that their priority is the students. And it may not always seem like that, but truly there are so many people that want all the students at Texas A&M to succeed and to leave here feeling like they're part of an Aggie family.
Absolutely. So I know, Carys, you touched on it a little bit, COSGA. For anyone watching, may not know a ton about it, could you talk a little bit more about what goes in to putting on a conference of that size and what your role in that looks like?
Yeah, for sure. COSGA, in more simple terms, is we are just there's 5 different committees, and under that there's 2 chairs per committee, and then under that we have a chair, and then multiple committee members that get to help serve in this way. So we send out a bunch of emails to schools all across the nation, invite them to come learn more about student government, learn more about leadership, selfless service, all the key points. And they just get to come and spend a weekend in April just at A&M. And we have social events for them. We have keynote speakers that come in. We have roundtables. What's really cool about this year and last year, we have some actual Aggies that are roundtable speakers and keynote speakers. And so it's just a really cool conference weekend, and my job this year, I'm a finance director, and more specifically, I'm the director of donors, and so I get to reach out to just local companies and just asking them for money or resources or just time that they could donate to us, and so it's just a really cool opportunity to meet just so many cool students and students from all over, and I served last year as a fish aide in it, and so getting to walk in knowing nothing about COSGA and just getting thrown in it. And I left the weekend being like, wow, that was so impactful for me. I heard from students that just are struggling really, really hard, just have really hard circumstances going on within their SGA, and just hearing them be vulnerable about that, and also just being so proud that we have students here that would love to share their advice to them, and even just different schools sharing their advice to each other. It's just really cool that we all get to be unified in that way.
Yeah, what a selfless opportunity to give back. Do you think there's anything you're looking forward to most for your upcoming conference?
I'm really excited to just see just how many students return, and I think that'll just put into perspective, okay, we are making an impact on these students' lives, and this is something where we can just spend a lot of time. We spend from September to April just getting this conference ready, and I think just getting to see hearing the stories of how this has impacted returning students' lives, and then also getting to hear the action steps from students that come and what their goal is and what they're planning on doing whenever they return home from conference.
I'd love to wrap up today's episode by talking about when you guys look back on your time at A&M, how do you think SGA will fit into that story?
I think that SGA is the biggest involvement that I'll take away. This is where I made some of my closest friends and just people that I hope are with me for a lifetime, but also just so many experiences that I wouldn't have gotten anywhere else. So when I leave A&M, I think the skills that I learned will last a lifetime and will translate directly into the job field no matter where I go. But looking even later down in life, when I have kids and hopefully they come to A&M too, that's what I would tell them to get involved in. This has been such a joy to be a part of, and I would highly recommend it to anyone who wants to get involved. There's thousands of students in student government, and it's never too late to join. And I think that anyone who has the opportunity to get involved would benefit immensely from it.
Yeah,
totally. I think I've just learned a lot about how each of our gifts just get to play in making something so great happen. And we are just one student and 70,000 students, but also we have so much of an impact that we get to make and the opportunity for an impact. And so just something that I'll take away forever is just the fact that reminding myself that I do have the opportunity to make a difference, and I should say yes to those opportunities whenever they arise, and not be scared that I don't have enough that could fit into this. If I thought that before going into fish aids and applying for fish aids, I don't know that much about student government. I don't really know what I'm getting myself into. But hearing that it was a service org, I was like, okay, I like that. I can wrap my head around that. And so just reminding myself throughout the rest of my life and just encouraging others in that find something that you're passionate about and seek it out in an organization or in friends, and then just go all in with that. And this has just been a really cool organization to be a part of.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I would recommend SGA to anyone. And I think there is this idea that, oh, I'm a freshman, like I can't do SGA, which is what I thought. And that's far from the truth. And graduate students, we need graduate students, we need professional students, we need everyone in between. And so to everyone who is thinking about joining SGA or doesn't think you might be interested, I encourage everyone to check it out because there's an opportunity for everyone. And I think that's also what I've taken away is that, everyone's voice matters and we want to hear everyone's voice. And so as I kind of I'll be here one more year and then graduating. I've just we'll look back on my time in SGA as a time of, immense personal growth, but really understanding what the Aggie spirit means and being a part of the Aggie family. I think I'm way more bold in going up to fellow Aggies, knowing that we'll have a commonality and knowing that we'll have a great conversation. Growing up, I used to see my mom, cross a room if she saw an Aggie ring, and I didn't understand what that meant before coming to A&M, but SGA has really made me appreciate that because we all matter to each other and we are just one big Aggie family. And so I'm excited to become a former student and get to dive deeper into that as well.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the podcast today to share a little bit about each of you and all that SGA does for Texas A&M. Thanks, and gig 'em.